Hey, what's up everyone? Watch this video here for Tuesday, January 12th. And let's start with the SPY like we always do. Here's the daily candle, which I'll zoom in a little bit. I mean, it's definitely a narrow range, and man, was it a slow afternoon. I mean, that's today's candle. It wasn't a lot of action. I'm never a big fan of Monday mornings, but some great calls in chat. I'm going to give you a couple examples for those of you that didn't make it. RIDE, R-I-D-E. We were kind of watching that as a morning gapper. I don't know if I ended up with it on my morning gap playlist, but I had it on there earlier. Anyway, Keith R in chat just called it long. I'll show you what it looked like. Probably looked about like this when he mentioned the idea of the opening range breakout or high of day break. They're both the same, 22.54. Look what happens. I mean, it just never looks back and goes all the way up to over 28.50. I mean, just an amazing heads up by Keith R. Again, that was being talked about in the pre-market, so anyone could have had that on their watch list and got that in time. NCTY, I mentioned before the opening bell as one of the possible Bitcoin-related plays that might, I said it was my favorite if you're going to treat any of these as a morning gap down bounce play, right? I said it was my favorite. And then Jane gave the idea out when it looked like this, right? Just a red to green or opening range breakout, either one. It's the morning gap. That's a mouthful. It is the bounce play gap down setup that we teach. And it was just over the highs here, over 1133. And I mean, pretty quickly, if you look at that, that's a 5-minute candle. And it went to 1230. So it went a buck in like 5 minutes from Jane's idea, which was right there. And then went a little bit higher than that as well in the afternoon. Probably deserves to be on watch tomorrow. It didn't make my list, but I'll give it an honorable mention here that some of you might like it. There's just a couple examples from chat. I made some money on Kern thanks to Wayne's great call. But again, I usually pick one or two to put on the highlight page, and then I go about my evening. I'm just now, it's 7:22. I'm just now getting back to where I can make a video for tomorrow. So anyway, here's what I'm going to be watching tomorrow. I hate to be redundant, but just a reminder, I always remember that somebody might be watching my watch list video for the first time ever, right? So I like to remind people that I am looking for ways to make money tomorrow on an intraday basis. I don't hold overnight, so none of these are investment ideas, and I'm not in any of these right now, right? So RIDE, it made a huge move today, but I still want to watch it tomorrow. You can kind of picture a trend line here from here to here. It probably came pretty close to hitting it. You know, something that makes a move this big, and you look at all the daily candles, it doesn't do that very often. It's usually not the next day that's a smart day to play it, but you never know. Sometimes you get a follow-through day. So RIDE goes on watch, RIDE, SIFY. My biggest problem with this one is I have no idea why this ran today. I'm not saying it didn't have news. I just didn't see any, but it did trade 50 million shares, closed well off of its highs, but still that's going to catch some attention tomorrow, so I want to watch that. FUV, it's been, after this big move back here, it's really been chopping sideways, and now it's starting to break to the upside. Decent volume today, so we're going to watch that for a follow-through day tomorrow. Triple D had this crazy move 3 sessions ago. Then 2 sessions ago had a crazy move, but got slapped back down. Next thing you know, it's right back up again. So this one is so strong, I got to keep it on watch. And there's a couple others that may go if it goes, right? If it continues. And one of them is XONE. Kind of similar to Triple D in that had that reversal kind of topping tail on Friday, and then today climbing back up again. If that whole space, which is 3D printing, gets going, and this isn't on the list, it's another, I guess you call it an honorable mention. Keep an eye on DM, because that one might run with them, okay? So, but anyway, that XONE was the next one on the list. If Triple D gets going, that's certainly one to watch. SLGG, big volume and a fairly strong close. We'll watch that for a follow-through day. BNGO, gapped up after this crazy move. It looked like it was going to roll over, and I think they had an offering somewhere in here. Next thing you know, it's right back up. So this one's real interesting. Over 608 tomorrow if it breaks that, which was today's high. Might have some shorts caught. Sun W, after this big 2-day run, you got a couple kind of quiet days on declining volume, so that one stays on long watch. PEC is in the same space. I believe they're both in the solar space, and PEC is holding up pretty darn well after an offering. So that certainly one to watch. Let's see, on Thursday, it looks like it hit 1620. Today it hit 1625 before closing all the way down at 1482. Anyway, strong enough that we want to keep an eye on it because we're day traders, right? All right, so that's PEC. Let's see. ISR. Had the gap up, and then usually when you get this and you get this kind of volume, 250 million shares, and you get a couple red days, usually something like this just keeps bleeding lower for the longest time. And next thing you know, today it takes out all 3 days, all 3 recent highs. I didn't word that well, but you know what I'm saying. Took out the high of the last 3 days. So absolutely worth watching for a follow-through day tomorrow. Craig, C-R-E-G, I believe a Chinese play. If you take this topping tail out of it, right, take this big reversal, this thing's really got not much resistance above and is holding up pretty well. So I want to watch that one. A couple more. QS, which had this huge move back here and then came all the way back down. I mean, from like over 130 all the way down to under 50, right? 47.40 is where the low was. And so then it started to climb back up, and now we've got a few days lower again, right back into, I believe, the 50-day. I don't have it in front of me. But you've got, 4 days in a row? No, 3 days in a row lower, declining volume. I think this is, it goes back on bounce watch. I haven't been watching it for a couple days, but now we got these 3 days down in a row, absolutely back on bounce watch. And then lastly, TTOO is on gap watch. And let me try to figure out where it is. I covered up my after hours chart. Okay, there we go. It's trading at 214 right now in after hours. So you're looking at the daily, and in after hours it went up to over 240. And as I'm talking right now, after hours still open for about another half hour. It's trading up at 214. I believe they had some after hour news. So we're going to watch that one, and we'll add other gappers to this list as well. There should be plenty to watch. Today was really boring. Sometimes that's good because you need a boring day, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll get some nice trades. All right, I'm done babbling. We'll see you guys in the chat room.